Hey guys, what is up? So in this video, I'm going to do a nice little whiteboard breakdown of the 6 stages to selling web design. I'm going to show you a nice consistent process that I've used, that tons of my students have used to successfully sell web design a lot. So I'm going to break it down, show you the exact stages. I think it's going to be super useful for any sort of sales call or sales conversation that you have in person. Keep this in your mind. You go into that sales conversation and you have something logical that you can go through to sell web design to a business owner. So I'm going to get into straight away breaking it down, show you exactly how this works. So let me just do up the 6 different stages first. We'll talk about what comes before you have the sales conversation, what comes afterwards, and the whole process of going from reaching out to someone or getting a warm lead to actually closing the deal and having someone pay an invoice. So I'll explain this in a second, but basically this is going to be our sales conversation stage. And then we have what comes after and what comes before. I'll get into it in 2 seconds. So we're going to have our 6 stages, which is we open the sales call. Hopefully you guys can read this. We frame it. We do questions, which is probably the biggest stage of the sales call. So that I'm going to make that one a little bit longer. We review. This is pretty rough handwriting. We review. We do our budget. Right. And then we got our plan down here at the bottom. Maybe I should have drawn this out first. So our plan, cool. So pretty rough. Hopefully you guys can understand this. If you can, ask me in the comments below and I'll answer whatever questions. So we're gonna have these 6 different stages. This is our sales conversation. Now what comes before we have a sales conversation? We gotta pre-sell this conversation. So before you get to this part of the sale, this is like your overall sale here, and I'll say this is the sales conversation. Before you get to this part, you got to pre-sell this sales conversation. This thing is going to take about 30 minutes to an hour talking to a business owner, either on the phone or in person. And you can't just do that out of nowhere. You can't just pick up a phone book, call around the business and have an hour-long conversation. You know, maybe 1 out of 1,000 times it's going to work. So what you're going to have to do is pre-sell a conversation. Now, to pre-sell this, you're going to have different sorts of leads for your web design business. So maybe you're going to have a warm lead, or you're going to have a referral, or you're running some sort of ads or marketing, or you got a physical store, people walk in the door, or you're doing cold prospecting. So maybe you do cold calls, cold emails, whatever you're doing. And if you guys want, I can do separate videos on this sort of stuff, let me know. But whatever you're doing, you're letting these people know once you get in touch with them, hey, the best thing for us to do is to have a sales conversation. So warm lead, hey, it's great that Dave put us in touch. For me to figure out the best way to help your business, it shouldn't be that I just tell you right now the price and what exactly I'm going to offer. We should have a sales conversation. So you're always, no matter what these people are saying, I want the price now. I want to know exactly how much your web design costs. I want you to send me over an invoice today. Before you do that sort of stuff, you got to have this. If you don't do this, you're completely guessing. You're guessing what they need. You're guessing the price. You're guessing their budget. Maybe you get some sales, but a lot of the time you're going to miss out on tons of sales because you don't have the correct information, which you can only get from having a full-on sales conversation. And when you don't have the correct information and you rush to try and sell, you usually mess up. And if you don't mess up, it usually means you're underpricing, that you're charging way too little for the services that you provide, because that's generally the only reason that if you rush in, people will buy, is that it's so cheap. So, hey, I'll do all of that for $300. Business owner's like, okay, let's do it. You skip this whole stage and you go straight to sending them an invoice, they pay, but you miss out on the potential to charge way more for what it is that you offer. So with a warm lead, hey, before we get into it, it's great that this person put us in touch, but the best thing to do is to have a sales conversation. With cold prospecting, hey, I reached out to your business. I think I can help you guys. I've helped some similar businesses, and I'd love to have a proper conversation where we talk about this. Can we talk next Tuesday? I'll call back and we'll have a proper conversation about this. In the meantime, I'll send you some information and you can go over it. How does that sound? Okay, it's good, cool. Whatever you're doing, you're setting up this sales conversation. Now, after you have the sales conversation, and we'll obviously come back to what's going on in this stage, after you have this, what are we actually trying to do here? What's the purpose of having this? We're trying to come out of this thing with enough good information. We've built a connection and rapport with the potential client. We found out exactly what they need, why they need it, the value it has for their business. We found out their budget. So we have all that information. We have the connection with the client. And now what we can do is we can go away and come up with a project plan. We can come up with a contract. And then we can also, the most important thing if you want to get paid, is have an actual invoice, some sort of system so that they can pay you. You know, maybe you're going to get them to go down to the bank and pay in person, but a lot of the time this is going to be that they click on an online invoice, FreshBooks or whatever. They click pay, they put in their credit card details, and you've got your sale. Usually 50% deposit, that's what I recommend. So you got your project plan, you got your contract, they pay you. So in between all of this, we got our sales conversation. This is going to get us from a potential lead the whole way down here to somebody agreeing with our project plan, agreeing with our contract, and actually paying us. How do we do it? The bulk of it is going to be done in this 30-minute to 1 hour long conversation where we go through these different stages. So 6 different stages, let's get into it. I'm obviously going to be moving pretty fast. If you have any questions on this, let me know in the comments, or if you want a full video on any one of these stages, let me know below and I'll do that up. I think one that people are going to request, you can let me know, is a budget. People always ask me about a video on this, so I can do a full video pretty soon on the budget if you guys want. So first thing you want to do, open the conversation. This is pretty obvious. 30 seconds to 1 minute. Hey, how's it going? It's Rob. Yo, good to hear from you. It's good that you jumped on this call. How are you doing today? Great. How's things? Open up the conversation. You want to be sharp. You want to be professional, friendly, obviously, but you're getting down to business. You're not going to spend 10 minutes here. Hey, so, did you catch that football game last week? Don't waste time with this stuff. But at the same time, if you can build a quick connection within a few, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, spend a little bit of time there. And what you want to do is once you've opened it, you're moving as quick as you can in a professional, nice, friendly way into framing the conversation. These two kind of blend together. You'll actually find that all of these kind of blend together in a nice, seamless way. You don't want to have a conversation that's like, okay, I'm done saying hello to you. Now let's talk about this. Like you want to nicely blend so it feels very casual, it feels professional, it feels fun for the potential client, it feels valuable. So you open the conversation. Hey, how's it going? It's good that we had this talk. It's good that Dave put us in touch. Love working with Dave. We got some great results for his business. So let's see if we can do the same for you. So what I want to get into is how we'll do this phone call. So basically you're moving into framing. If you guys don't know what frame is, it's basically the context of the situation. So when you go to a doctor, the context is that doctor is going to ask you questions, they're going to inspect your body, maybe they do some tests, and then they're going to diagnose you. There's like this understanding that you have of what usually happens in this situation. So we're setting up the frame. We're explaining to somebody directly and a little bit indirectly that, hey, this is what we're going to do in the sales conversation. This is how it works. This is why it works. And this is why it's valuable for you. So once you've opened, you start framing. So, hey, look, the best thing for us to do on the sales conversation is I'll just ask you a couple of questions first. So I understand your business. And once I can understand your business, we can get into how I could be able to help you. And then we can look at the price. And if you have any questions, we can definitely go through them as well. Sound good to you? Yep. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. So that's basically your framing, setting up the context. Now, what context do we want to set up? Basically that we're not just a web designer who builds, random websites and all they do is look good, that we're actually an expert who can help their business. So let me put this in. Expert helps biz. So, hey, I do web design, but the reason I do web design is so I can help you guys get real results. Now, you don't have to say this directly, but this is kind of like what you're implying is I don't just build websites for $500. I do proper work through a website, but really what I'm focusing on here is really helping your business, helping you to get more sales, helping you to get more customers, helping you to get better results, to remove all the frustrations and problems that you have. And how I do that is first understanding your business. So you're setting up the next stage using this frame. That is, you're going to ask some questions. Now, if you just go straight from open, hey, how's it going, Larry? Thanks for taking the call. So tell me, how much money did your business make last year? That's like a big jump. And Larry's going to be like, what? Why am I answering these questions? This is like a lot of private information. I don't want to give this out to this web designer person. They're going to shut down. So what we're doing, again, before these two stages, is we're framing it. So, hey, Larry, look, the best way to have this conversation right now is I just ask you a couple of questions so I understand about your business. Once I understand about your business, we can look at potential ways I can help you. Once we do that, we can get into the budget, how I work, different things maybe I can offer you. Does that sound good? Cool. Okay. My first question that I want to know about is da-da-da. So you're opening it up, you're framing it, telling them why you want to ask questions, why it's valuable to them, what you're hoping to achieve, what's in it for them basically, and then you're moving into questions. Now with questions, I've got loads of videos on this. Check out the channel. I'll link to a few maybe right now or put them in the description. With questions, you're basically starting from the surface. So you're going the whole way from context, understanding about the business, and then you're working your way down. You're looking for problems, understanding those problems even more. So let's just say deeper problems. And then you're getting into like the core issues that are going on with this business. Now this is kind of like the negative stuff. On the other side, once you've done this, you ask some positive questions as well. So positive questions, what are they aiming for? What's their vision for the next few years? Where do they want the business to be in 6 months, in 1 year? Different things that they're trying to do that are positive, those sort of questions. So with the kind of negative questions first, the problem questions, you're going to start with the context. You want to find out basically what this business is, understand it correctly. Now, before a sales conversation, you're probably going to do some research. You're going to go on their old website. Maybe you're going to watch some YouTube videos if they have a YouTube channel. Maybe you're going to research the industry in general. You're going to have like a general idea, but that's the whole industry. That's the old website. That's their past marketing material. You want to get up to date on what exactly is going on right now with this business. So you need to ask these questions first. So, Larry, tell me about the business. What's going on right now? What are you guys working on? Who are you selling to? What are you selling? Just give me a quick rundown. So you're focusing on the context, the understanding first. Before you get into problems, you got to know exactly what they do, why they do it, who they're selling to, what exactly they sell, who's their customers, what do their customers want, what value do they offer, these sort of things. Now again, we're working on the clock, so we can't spend all day here asking Larry 400 questions about his business. We got to move into something that he sees the value in as quick as possible. Larry's a busy guy, he's running his business, he doesn't want to be on a phone call that's going nowhere. So how do we get him engaged in the conversation is once we have context, we move into problems. Now, everyone loves talking about their problems. I love talking about my problems. I'm sure you guys do as well. So business owners love talking about their problems when they think that it's leading somewhere to getting their problems solved, which they should be starting to feel at this stage. So Larry, look, sounds like things are going pretty good, but sounds like you also got a few challenges as well. Let's just focus on those for a few seconds. So you were saying, when you're trying to sell, that right now people don't really fully understand maybe the value that you offer. Or hey Larry, that sounds really good what you're talking about here, but you mentioned that you're trying to open up some new stores and that you're also trying to sell to maybe different sorts of clients in the future. You're trying to get these bigger city projects and you're trying to land some of these like tell me about that. So you're going from the context, like the overall picture that they painted of the business, and you're diving into potential problems. Now, sometimes they'll say things that are really obviously a problem that you can jump into. Maybe hey, I'm trying to get these clients, but I can't right now. Or maybe they didn't mention anything that sounds like a problem, so you just start intelligently guessing where there's a problem. Larry, tell me how sales are. Are you hitting the numbers that you want to hit? Are you selling to the people you want to sell? Is there anything that you wish was more effective or efficient about how you're selling at the moment? So you're like, come on, tell me some problems. So you're opening them up, looking for those problems. Now, once you find the problems, it's not enough to just know the surface level problem. If your potential client tells you, yeah, we're not selling enough right now, you're like, okay, and you just mentally write that down, and then you just move ahead. You don't really know what that problem is. They told you the beginning of the problem, but there's a lot more stuff there. So when you're going through, again, I got a load of videos on this and I can make more if you guys want, but when you're going through these problems and they mention a problem, find out everything about that problem. So if they say, sales aren't so good right now, why aren't they good? What do they think the problem is? What does good sales look like to them? What's a number they'd be happy with? What's their sales process? Where are people getting caught up? Are they getting enough people into the sales process? What exactly is the issue? What could be helping? Like all this sort of stuff. So you dive into each separate problem, find out the impact, what's the core issue going on there, all the different things. And what you're going to eventually end up at is you have like these different problems that you found, a bunch of them, hopefully, and not just the core problem, but you've like found out all the different things that go with that problem. So, okay, they got a problem with sales, but it's not just sales, it's da-da-da-da-da. They got a problem with communicating with their clients, but it's not just communicating with the clients. They're, unable to email people clear information about the past projects that they've done. In sales meetings, they don't have anything to quickly show people. There's nothing on the current website that backs up the claims that they're making. With their communication, they feel like people don't even really know the proper value of what they have to offer, and they're always trying to explain it on on their sales phone calls, but they wish that they had better marketing material that was more effective. So you're going to have a bunch of different things. Past portfolio maybe is not looking good. They feel like the contact system is a little bit broken. The current site doesn't list the new products that they started offering 6 months ago because it was made 4 years ago. So all these different things, you found these problems, and then you found out the extent of those problems. So again, let's just pick that one more example. The website doesn't show the current services that they offer. Maybe they started offering 1 or 2 new services. That's a big problem, but that means that when they bid for new projects, they got nothing to back up their authority with offering those new services. It means when they email any potential client and a client looks at the website, that they're not going to see the new services that they offer. It means that anyone searching for them on Google is not even going to consider them an option because they don't even know that they offer those services. So again, when you find the problems from the context or just generally asking questions, looking for problems, when you find the problem, you dive in and you get as much information as you can about each problem. Now, when you do all of this, that's kind of like your problem side of the sale. You want to do the positive side of the sale as well. So, okay, Larry, at this stage, it sounds like I have a good idea of like some of the current problems and how that's impacting your business. Do you mind just telling me a little bit about, how it would look if you didn't have these problems? What would you like to achieve in the next 6 months, in the next year? What's your goal for the next while, Larry? So he's going to start talking about, his vision, his plan, his purpose, and you're going to have, active listening the whole time, but, really diving into, Larry, that sounds important to you. What would that mean for you if you're able to, double sales over the next 5 years? Why do you want to do that? Why is that important to you? These sort of things. So again, with the negative questions, we dive into the problem. With the positive questions, when they mention something, I'd love to be able to sell the business in 3 years. Okay, so why do you want to sell the business? We're doing the same thing again. We find out the positive reasons for them having this goal in the first place. Or, we're trying to bring on 2 new staff. Okay, cool. What are you hoping to do when you bring on those 2 new staff? So with the problems, you're getting a lot of the knock-on problems that come from the problem. With the positive things, you're finding out why that's important to them, why it means something, what's the motivation or the drive or the purpose behind them having these sort of things. So that's the question stage. Again, I'm condensing it really fast. I know I'm moving fast. If you guys have any questions on this, let me know, or I can make more videos. So once you have all of this, once you have all this negative information that they don't want this stuff, they're sick and tired of it, you understand exactly what the problem is and all the different things that it impacts. On the other side, you know what they want instead, you know what's motivating them, what's driving their business, their personal motivation, their business motivation, the goals that they have, different things that they want to see in the business over the next year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Once you have all this information, you're going to review it. So you're just like, hey, Larry, this is sounding really, really good with the positive stuff. I understand these challenges. let me just call it back to you and make sure that I understand everything at this stage. So Larry, you're telling me that right now you have a problem with sales. And the problem with sales is this thing. You also said you got a problem at communicating to your potential clients. You mentioned that on Google, people can't even find you. And when you go into sales meetings, that people don't really understand or trust what you're saying because they can't see it on your current website. And you also said and that you have a problem with the contact system. That means you got a problem with your past portfolio not being online. And Larry, you're telling me that, look, if you could get these problems out of the way and you could get going and you could move past this stuff, that what you're hoping to do is in 1 year from now, you're hoping to make $100,000 extra in sales, open that next store, hire those 2 extra people. You'd love to have a nice 2-week holiday that you haven't had in a long time, and you just want to feel better about the business. You want to be less stressed, you want to be less frustrated. Does that sound, accurate? Have I heard that all correctly? Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that we didn't talk about that's either a problem or a goal for you? You just recap it, you call it back to them. Now, there's a lot of sales psychology. This is a very logical, good step to do in any sort of sales conversation is recapping back what people have said. It shows that you're listening, it shows that you care, that you're paying attention, and that you're just professional, and people like it. There was a study years ago where they looked at a restaurant and the people getting tipped the most were the people who were calling back the orders. You ordered this, you ordered that, you ordered this, is that correct? Those people are getting tipped the most, not the people who were like super friendly, high energy. It was actually the people who were listening, paying attention, and letting people know that they were paying attention. So the same with our sales conversation. Once you've gone through this stage, recap it all back. Let them know that you're listening, that you care, that you're paying attention, and that you're focusing on the things that actually matter to them. And that's going to really kind of move us up to this next stage. So once you've done that, you move into budget. Now, a lot of web designers don't like talking about budget. They think, skip this step, it's kind of awkward. I'll do it later. And they try and just finish up the sales phone call, and then they email later, hey, I'll do it for $6,000. But they don't know that Larry only has $5,000 to spend or something like that. So basically what I'm trying to say there is when you skip budget, you're guessing, and you don't want to be guessing. We talked about earlier when people just go past this whole stage and they try and get a price, or they try and guess a price and try and guess what people want. We never want to be guessing. We want to work from the best information we can get. So with budget, you got to bring it up. Might feel a little bit weird the first few times, but generally it's only going to be awkward if you make it awkward. So after you've reviewed stuff, a nice way to transition to budget is, okay, Larry, sounds like I get it. Let's talk about what we have to work with to fix these sort of problems. That's a nice transition into budget. So, Larry, do you have an amount in mind that you would be happy to invest in me helping you with this right now? Or do you want me to go over some general figures and we can work from there? So you can ask them first, do they have a budget in mind? Do you have an amount? Now, Larry might say $100, he might say $10,000. If he says a good amount, perfect, you're on the right path already. If he says a bad amount, I got $200 to spend on this, then what you got to do is you got to re-educate your client a little bit. So Larry, I know right now there's a lot of information out there that says you can get a website for $200, and you can, you could go online right now to Fiverr, you could get someone to make up 4 pages, but talking about the problems that you have and the goals that you're trying to hit, I think it makes sense for you to invest more. $200 can get you a website that looks good, but we want something that's actually going to perform good and it's going to make a real difference for your business. Now, with the problems that you talked about, you're trying to reach 100,000 in the next year, you're dealing with these clients, you got I think a budget that could be better to help you is maybe around the $3,000 to $4,000 mark. Now, why would you pay that amount? Basically because that allows me to come at this project with the best possible resources to get you real results. So you're just looping it back all the time. You're like, look, Larry, you got real problems right here. You got real problems that are impacting your business that are costing you money. You also have these real goals that you want to hit that matter to you. So I want to help you with this, but I need a proper budget to do so. I need to have the resources to be able to help you. There's no point rushing this. There's no point doing it cheap. There's no point just sticking up something that kind of looks okay but doesn't do anything. We need to get this stuff fixed. We need to get it fixed correctly. We need to get real results for your business. here's my price, whatever your price is going to be. Now, I'll do a separate video of this, I think. Let me know in the comments, but I think you guys will want more information on how to price this stuff. Obviously, it's different for every business. Even in the same niche, it can be different for different businesses. Some businesses are big with small problems. Some businesses are big with big problems. Some businesses are small with small problems. There's a lot of different factors that you got to take into account when it comes to budgeting. But in general, you're looking at the scale and the size and the severity of the problems that they have. You're looking at the big goals that they have, and you're figuring out for yourself what is the right budget to help these people to get the best results, to really get them to this place, the positive place, as much as possible. What is the right amount for them to give you so you can help with these problems? That's the overall view of the overall mindset with budgeting a project. But again, we can come back to that in a separate video if you want. So once you've done the budget, sometimes you're gonna have a good amount that both of you agree on with the phone call. Other times, maybe not so much. Maybe Larry's just not too sure. He kind of sees the value, but he doesn't want to agree to anything right now. So if that happens, or whatever happens, you're going to move to this next stage regardless. Keep in mind, again, we don't sell web design on the phone call. We don't tell them right there in the phone call, hey, take out your credit card, send me $3,000 right now. We're going to do that stuff later. So the better way to finish the phone call is to, once you've talked about budget, okay, this is what I would like to do for this amount. How does that sound? Did you have an amount in mind? What sort of range could we work with here? You've done these different figures. You've kind of got it down to something tangible. So maybe 2,000 to 4,000, or 8,000 to 10,000, or even, if you're starting off, maybe $800 to $1,500, or maybe you got an exact amount. Whatever it is, you let them know, okay, look, the best thing to do right now is I'll go away, go back over all the information that you told me, really condense it down to the core things that matter. And what I'll do is, over the next few days, I'll send you an email with the information about the project, what price that I think is best for us to work with together on this to get the best results. I'll do up a contract and I'll do up an invoice. And if you're happy with things, we can move ahead straight away. Basically, pay the invoice, I'll have the details in there, and I can get started on it right away. But if you have any more questions, you can come back to me. Maybe it's a quick question, I'll answer it in the email, or maybe it's something more detailed, we jump back on another phone call. But either way, I'll do up a plan. I'll do up a way for us to move forwards, and I'll have a price in there. Or sometimes you can do one or two, maybe different budgets. Personally, I try and keep it just to one price to not confuse people. Either way, I'll send you over a project plan, Larry, information on how to move forwards if you're ready to go. I'll have the budget in there, and I'll explain why that budget is the way it is, and what it should mean to your business and the results that we could get together. But for this phone call right now today, I think that's enough. Thank you so much for giving me this information. Thanks for having this conversation. I want to help you get the best results. The best thing for me right now is to take a little bit of time, digest what you're saying. I don't want to rush into this and price it on the phone straight away. It's best if I spend a bit of time, go back over everything, come up with a detailed plan. You can think about it as well, and then I'll email that to you in the next few days, and we can take it from there. How does that sound? Cool. Any other questions, anything that I didn't address that you want to ask me right now? Okay, sounds good. Larry, thanks for your time. Great talking to you. I'll email that to you soon. Have a good day. That's it.
All right, so that is it. I actually had more, but I ran out of memory cards, so a much longer video than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be 10 minutes, but really hope that helps. If I missed anything, ask me in the questions below in the comments. I'll get back to you. We can get into it in more detail. Really hope that system makes a lot of sense. Put it into use. Have it written out before you get into these sales conversations. Maybe go through this video a couple of times. Really have it clear in your head. Have it written out. Have your plan before you get into these conversations with potential clients, and you'll find that it goes way better than before. If you didn't have any sort of plan, this is really going to help you to get better results. So that is it for this video. Hit like if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you want more content like this. Most important thing, let me know in the comments what you want to see, what questions you have, how I can help you with this YouTube channel. So that is it. Catch you in the next video.